Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing fine. Doing fine. And, we've talked about this topic in the past, but off air, we talked about, we want to talk about multiple offers because it is where we're at. It's happening all the time.
It's more the norm than the exception.
Yeah.
Where, 4 years ago, it wasn't that way.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are definitely seeing, in specific price ranges, multiple offers. It goes back to if it's priced right, you'll get it sold.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buyers out there. There's pent-up demand, and there's not a lot of inventory. So you're getting competition for any of the homes that are on the market.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one pended right now that is due to close shortly. And every day, it's in town Warsaw.
Okay.
Every day I get an agent, is that ever going to close? Is that going to close? Because I really have clients that are interested.
Yeah.
If I had 10 houses listed for sale
Mm-hmm.
in Warsaw for under 170,000, those 10 would be pended, I think. Obviously they have to be worth it, right? And hey, I've got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath,
Right.
500 square foot house, 170. No,
Yeah,
that's
no.
not what I'm talking about. But if homes are priced right, there is definitely a lot of demand. You get a lot of showings, and you'll get a lot of offers.
Mm-hmm.
So, for sellers, it's still great. Still a seller's market.
Right.
For buyers, though, what we wanted to talk about is how do you win when you're in those multiple offer situations?
Okay.
So I guess the first thing, and I give this advice to my folks, in fact, I was on the phone with somebody yesterday talking about this on a property I know is going to have multiple offers. I told them, submit your best offer first.
Okay.
Do not expect that you're going to get a counter. Do not expect that you're going to be the only, fish in the sea. There's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be other people. So, well, Mark, why would I want to submit my best offer? Because if there's multiple offers, I want a room to negotiate, to maybe get in the game.
Right.
Well, the fact is, if your offer is good enough, I have seen where sellers will accept that offer and not even entertain any other offers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not the shortest time window. I mean, I can tell you from an agent's perspective, when I get that offer and it comes in and it's got a 2-hour response time, and I have seen those.
Wow.
For seller, you've ticked the seller off. I get it. You've tipped the agent off who's working for the seller,
Right.
which can ultimately influence how the seller reacts to that
Mm-hmm.
offer with that response time. And let's be real. Can you, in fact, respond in 2 hours? Can you?
No,
if you're a
I
buyer,
couldn't. No.
that's where it comes down to is, do you think I'm just sitting around waiting to get that?
Right.
It's great, I'm getting it. But, life goes on. And if you've got a partnership, you got a husband, a wife, you got 2 people that have to get signed, one, different locations, you got email. Yeah, technology's great, and we all see stuff on our phones, but a 2-hour response time, you are not opening yourself up to that seller to say, hey, all you're doing is jacking the seller around, in my opinion.
Not really fair to do.
It's not, and actually you're setting yourself in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
Now get it, I've done the same thing, not a 2-hour window, but I have given short response times.
Yeah.
And ultimately, why do we, from a buyer's perspective, do that? A buyer's agent do that? We want to limit the number of people that can get in and see the house, right? You don't want to let other competition in.
Sure.
But the fact is, going back to my point, submit your best offer first. If it's a great offer, you may be able to win that before you get into a multiple offer.
Right.
So don't be silly,
Mm-hmm.
and think you're going to get a counter back. If that's the game you want to play,
Okay.
best offer first. Best price, best terms, all the other things we're going to talk about. Submit your best offer first.
Okay.
And again, at this point, when it's a seller's market like this, we're not really going to have the opportunity to negotiate. There are no deals to be had.
No, there's not.
Can I say that again?
Yeah.
There are no deals to be had.
No.
Next week when we do the market update and we look at, what the statistics are, I'm going to guess that average list to sale price is still hovering, around 100%. I mean, it's going to be 99.5%.
Right.
So if it's listed at 100, they're selling for 99,500
Yeah.
on average. So
Right.
you're not going to get 3% off. If you go in and you need closing costs, you're already at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
So bottom line, submit the best offer that you have first.
Okay.
There's one way to assist with that with the best offer, and it's called an escalation clause.
Okay.
And this came into being a couple of years ago when we were seeing many multiple offers. So what an escalation clause does, when you submit that with your offer, you say, here's the price I'm offering, and then I'm willing to go to the price I'm offering plus $10,000 in $1,000 increments and $500 increments, whatever that is. So I submit that offer to the agent. The house is listed at $150. We offer $145.
Okay.
Right? And then my buyer in the escalation clause, we write in there, we're willing to go to $155 in $1,000 increments if you have another offer that drives the price to that.
All right.
Does that make sense? Am I making it clear?
No, you're making sense, but how does the buyer know that they actually got the other offer?
Well, the funny thing is, in the escalation clause at the very end, it says that you need to provide proof of the other offers that drove the price to that limit. Okay? So escalation clauses are great, but again, from my perspective, from my experience, you're telling the seller what the max is you're willing to pay. Going back to point number one, submit your best offer first.
Right.
Go in at that price. Maybe you get it before anybody else is in the game.
Right.
Right? Now, again, you're not saving any money, but what did I say before? There are no deals to be had.
Not right now, there's not. No.
So again, escalation clauses can help. You know, if you think you want to try to negotiate, you're still trying to get a deal. But the fact is, I'm a firm believer in best offer first. And that escalation clause, we see them more and more. The risk to the buyer is, in order to get that offer accepted, the seller now has to counter you back and say, okay, I'll take your escalation clause has been enforced. I'm going to counter you, and you need to accept that. So when I say risk to the buyer, you risk the seller maybe changing their mind along the way. But to the seller, what if they've had 5 other offers? They counter this buyer back at that higher price, and the buyer has slept on it and said, no, I'm not really willing to do that. And the seller's already rejected the other offers. So again, I'm just giving you inside scoop on how we talk to sellers.
Right.
So for a buyer, you put yourself at a disadvantage by doing that. Again, go back to point number one, best offer first.
Sure.
So after the break, we'll talk about a couple other things that'll tips for buyers.
All right, you've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Marcus Kowalski of Remax Lakes, and we're talking about a multiple offer situation, or for buyers, you know, how to make sure you win in a multiple offer situation. So we talked about putting your best foot first, you know, the best offer out there.
Absolutely.
And then you talked about the escalation clause, which can get a little confusing, but I mean, it makes sense.
It does, and for buyers, it can be confusing. For sellers, it's confusing. I can tell you, for agents, it's confusing sometimes, because you're looking at all these. Okay, what this offer, A, B, C, D, what happens? All of those things. So you know, to try to ensure you're going to win it, best offer first, highest offer first. Walk away if you can't get it. You don't get it. Right. You didn't get it. I mean, that's again my advice. So beyond price, you know, we always talk about price. The other things are terms, things that can impact the seller going forward. So, you know, from a buyer's perspective, you can put a shorter inspection period. That's going to make the seller feel better, right? You're not going to be 20 days out to do inspections. You're only going to take 7 days to do inspections. So if something falls apart in the interim, we're back on the market sooner. So again, it's kind of a concession to the seller. But again, from a buyer, I'm trying to give them as much, many opportunities to accept my offer. I want to put myself in a position to get my offer accepted. Think like a seller at that point.
Right.
Shorter inspection time frame. Don't recommend this, but I at least offer it up to buyers. Waive inspections. You know, don't have inspections, because what's the seller thinking about? They're thinking, hey, these folks may come and nickel and dime me to death for inspection items.
Right.
If I don't have to deal with inspections, even if I have an offer that's maybe a little bit higher price, that could provide some value to me. So we don't know. We don't know what the seller's thinking. And again, you have to really consider that if you're going to do it. If you're buying a 1900 house and you're buying it 100% financing and you don't have the money to make repairs if you need to, would not recommend that you do, no inspections. Now again, as an agent, I'm going to give you that as an option, But from a buyer, I would not make that decision myself. I would not accept that. So, again, that's just another piece that puts you into a better position with the seller. Larger earnest fund deposit. Put out as much as you can as escrow. You're showing that you're earnestly interested in buying the property. So if I have 2 offers and they're all even, and one guy or one couple puts 1% of the purchase price as earnest funds, and I come in with 3% of the price as earnest funds, I've got a stronger earnest fund offer. Now again, it's very rarely is everything exactly the same. Type of financing, conditions, inspections, all of those things are in there. But from a buyer, that's one piece you could do.
What's the normal on that? Is it 1% or what?
We try to do 1%, but we tend to see $100,000 or below. It's $500 for earnest money. A couple $100,000 house, you'll see $1,000, maybe $2,000. Even lake properties, $5,000. Occasionally, I'll get $7,000 or $8,000 for earnest funds. But 1% is the industry standard. So don't try to do any lowballing. Again, put your best offer forward.
Not in this market.
Not in this market. And I guess one of the other things is, as an agent, we have in the MLS, we have a section called Agent Remarks, and many times the agents put in things there that really will make sense to the seller. Washer and dryer are excluded. Place set is going. Need 15 days after closing for possession. Now, typically as a buyer, you want to get possession at closing. But use the intelligence that your agent can gather before you write that offer. If the seller says they want 15 days after closing, if they say the washer and dryer are excluded, if they say, if there's all these things that can be in there, accommodate that seller at that point. Again, now I'm not saying give away the farm, but they're already telling you up front these items. So if you're in a competitive situation, everything else being equal, and the agent that submitted another offer listened to the intel and got their buyers to listen to the intel, and I didn't, which offer is the seller going to take? They're going to take the one that is best for them. So again, ask your agent, what do you think? And as an agent, we're going to tell you those things. We're going to give you that, hopefully, the information that's going to make you or allow you to put the best offer on the table. So, all of those things, submit a complete agreement. That's a responsibility of the agent, but have your pre-approval and send that pre-approval along with the offer. Any disclosures, copy the earnest money. And I try to make it be typed up. I'm not handwriting offers. Again, it's neat and orderly, just like with selling. The nice shiny penny sells. With an offer, I really believe the better looking offer, everything else being equal, we're going to work with that.
All right. In 30 seconds, you said that you heard from the NAR chief economist on the outlook of the market.
Yeah, they're predicting that 2021 is going to be better than 2020. 2020 is better than 19. 2021 is going to be better. Again, it's predictions. It's in September here. A lot of things could happen between now and then, but we'll see.
Okay, very good. Hey, your contact information real fast.
Sure. Website's lakes-realtors.com. Phone numbers 574-834-1233. You can always check us out on YouTube.
Excellent. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.